Attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Bass in your face. Bass in your face.
Hey guys, it's Mizzy and I'm a mixed girl in a mixed up world. Welcome to the live show. How is everyone doing tonight? Let me just get the comment section up so I can see you lovely people. How is everyone doing? Are you guys enjoying your holiday weekend? Is anybody doing anything fun? I was recuperating. Last weekend was a long weekend for me. Hello. Troll-free safe haven. We hope we stay like that for a while. Luckily, because I mostly talk about the Sandra Birchmore case, the trolls tend to stay away. But if they come, they come. It's just more views for me. You know, that's the way I look at it. Good afternoon, evening, however you want to say it, wherever you're from. How are you today? Hello, Lady E. So how is everyone doing? I'm doing better than I was. I almost thought I was going to have to cancel tonight because I was teetering back and forth on a migraine. Well, thank you for joining us from Arizona. That's awesome. Thank you. I was teetering back and forth with the migraine, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do the show. I'm going to push through it, and if I have to cut it short, I'll cut it short. If you guys hear me kind of slur my words a little or seem a little off, it's just because my brain is trying to function as I'm getting a migraine. I sometimes cannot find my words. I sometimes start to stutter, and I even simple words I'll try to say. So just bear with me if I start sounding a little weird. That's why. Hi, Shari D. How are you? Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we all have to take care of ourselves. We have to have self-love, and I don't mean it that way. I mean, like, you got to make sure that you take care of yourself, especially when you're in the fight that we're in, fighting for justice for others, fighting for justice of those who have been murdered. You have to make sure you take care of yourself. You know, as they say, when you go on a plane, you know, you have to put the life preserver on you first before you can help others. You got to put your mask on first before you can help others. The life preserver one is if you're on a boat. The mask is on if you're on a flight. So don't confuse the two, because that'll be weird if you start unhooking your seat to get your life preserver on a plane. So it's you got to take care of yourself. You got to take time to replenish. You got to step away, put down the devices, watch a movie, spend time with family, go out with friends, go out to dinner. We got to make sure that we are keeping up with our mental health, because we cannot fight for those who need us if we're not 100%. And unfortunately, with my health issues, I'm never 100%, but I know where to draw the line when it comes to myself. So I know when to cut myself off, and I know when to push forward. And you just got to learn where your space is. You know, follow your intuition. If you feel like you can't do something that day, there is nothing wrong with taking a step back and having a mental health day. You know, mental health is very important to me. I am, hold on. Hey, Mizzy and chat from Maine. Thank you for coming from Maine. I apologize. It's hard for me to read. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of you know who've been following for a long time. I suffer from migraines. I get them a few times a week. There's a range of how bad they are for me, but I made sure to take my meds and started, wanted to push through. I felt like tomorrow would have, people. It's the actual holiday, and people will be celebrating the holiday more tomorrow. I don't know. I don't really usually go anywhere on this holiday. I give my thanks to, as what I'm going to do right now. Thank you to anyone who sacrificed their life for us to have freedoms. There's a lot of injustices going on in America right now and throughout the world, but we are luckier than other places are. We're more free than other places are. But that's why we need to keep fighting to hold on to what we gained as a country. And we need to make sure that, we don't let it slip through our fingers, because it can easily slip through your fingers. Democracies die when the people stop fighting for what they want. And we all need to make sure, and that doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican or independent, if you're Black, white, Asian, any other nationality, or any nationality. It doesn't, if you live in this country, you want to ensure that we stay freedom, and, we hold up to the Constitution. And one of the ones that we're fighting for the most is the First Amendment, and also the freedom to live and not be murdered in this country. So, my grandfather served. He luckily did not die in combat. But so many of our soldiers did. And, this weekend isn't about cookouts and the kickoff to, the summer. It's about our country's freedom and the sacrifice we gave to, that so many gave, soldiers, and gave to ensure that our country is free. And like I said, we need to keep pushing, and we need to keep fighting for our freedoms. So with that said, again, happy Memorial Day. And thank you for anyone who gave their life in service of this country. So let's kick off the show and get started. First, I want to bring up my poster. Give me 1 second. Let me get it going, because Gmail likes to close me out of what I'm working on. So I'm just going to go through our announcements that are coming for upcoming events and things going on with the Sandra Birchmore case. Right now, we don't have a ton. Well, actually, that's not true. Just let me get my poster up. Oh, come on, go Gmail. It's taken a while to load. Next week, we have, not this week, coming the following week, we have Robert Devine's post-commission hearings. It's the actual, he's going before the post-commission, finally. So I'm not 100% sure if I can stream those, but if I can, I will be streaming those on the 5th and the 6th are the dates that they are. And of course, Gmail is not working with me. I was having problems with everything before I went live. But so I will try to stream those. And I know a lot of you want to watch the Karen retrial. I understand that. I want to watch it too. But wrong email. So I'm going to stream them. And if you want to come back and watch them later on that night, that is perfectly fine. I don't expect people to choose, Robert Devine's hearings over the Karen Read case. I fully understand, and it's understandable. We want to make sure that we're paying attention to both. So, okay, let me do share. Finally, it loaded. Share screen. So Hurry up, hurry up. It's moving so slow. I'm sorry, guys. Is it? I can't. I think I'm freezing. There we go. I apologize if I'm freezing, guys. Sorry. Okay. Here we go. So, of course, this is huge. So, our upcoming hearings, Matthew's hearing was moved to, it's not shared. Okay. Matthew's hearing was moved to, let me click on it so it gets bigger. Okay. Matthew's hearing was moved. I think we talked about this my last live was moved to July 1st at 10:15 a.m. We will be there at 9 o'clock out in front of the courthouse. It's the Moakley Courthouse in downtown Boston. We will be there at 9 o'clock to do, it's a mini standout. It's not like, a regular standout. We won't be, it's like a mini one. The press comes and we talk to the press and we bring a banner. I'm not sure if we're going to bring a banner or I bought some flags for us to hold out. So it might be one of them that we do. I'm not 100% sure. And then, like I said, next on the 5th and 6th, I don't have a time yet. But when I get the time, I will definitely post. I'll do a live next weekend too. So I will have all that information for you guys. But on the 5th and 6th, it says 10 a.m. But I want to make sure, I didn't even realize that. I want to make sure on that we have, the information for you guys, that it is at 10 a.m. start. I don't know how long it's going to go, but like I said, I might just stream it. And if you want to come back and watch it later on, please do. Please come back and watch, because we want to make sure that we're keeping our eyes on this. We want them to know that, that the public is watching. So yeah. So on, the June 6th, 5th and 6th, he will have his I've been calling it a trial in front of the post commission, and it's very important we keep our eyes on this. So, and the next thing I want to show, I'm going to go back to this for a moment. Do you guys have any questions at this point? I want to make sure that I'm engaging with you guys. Right now, Barb isn't going to be here, so I'm trying to watch the chat and watch what's going on. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And if you guys see anybody acting up, let me know. Missy, I'm going to be talking mostly. I'm not going to be playing a lot of stuff. It's going to be mostly talking. Well, I am going to be playing some stuff, but they're like short little clips. They're not huge, long clips. But so yeah. Is the chat working? I just want to make sure. Yep, it's working. Okay. So let me get rid of this. Hi, Sue. How are you? Thank you for coming. It's good to see you. Okay, let me remove that. Stop screen share. So the next thing I want to talk about, I want to show you guys. I could have done it right there because it's the same email. Oh, my. So we had a standout last Saturday, and it was for Sandra's birthday. Her birthday was the 13th, and we did it for oh, my thing is drifting. we did it for the 17th, and it began out really small, but we ended up having a good sized crowd that showed up, and it was so appreciative. I thank everybody who came. What is going on? Can I highlight? Turn. Okay, here I am. Let's try this again. Oh, I apologize, guys. That I gotta update my what are they called? My pods for my internet, because when my father did this house, or when he did this house, because my room was an addition, he put in a lot of insulation, and it was that old school heavy insulation. And I think he did some of the spray insulation, and for some reason I have problems getting the internet up in my room sometimes. I had to buy pods before, but now I've updated. So can you guys all see me? Can you guys hear me? Oh my God. Am I back? Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. I hate technical difficulties, because it's like I try to plan everything out and then things go like haywire, and it's like, okay, let me go back to trying to share. I hope this doesn't crash it again. Oh, my mouse keeps like drifting around. Okay. So we did a standout, as I was saying, on Saturday, the 17th. It went well. We only have like 3 pictures, because unfortunately I was going to take pictures and then I got distracted and never took some. But here's a couple of them. We ended up having like about 12 to 15 people, which is great. So here's some of the supporters that we had there. And, we're thankful for anyone who shows up and supports us. It means the world to us. We had fun. We had cupcakes, and we brought the cupcakes the next day and the next day to try to get rid of them. But we had a great time, and we got the public seeing more about Sandra, and we got a lot of public engagement. A lot of people drove by and beeped, yelled out, justice for Sandra Birchmore. I yelled hi. Thankfully we didn't get anyone that was negative as far as I remember. So that was awesome. And, if you're a local, please come and join us next time. We want to grow this more and more. And I know once the Karen Reed trial is over, hopefully we'll get some more. I've had a lot of people come and tell me that they're going to come join us once the Karen Reed trial is over. And we fully get it. We're all Karen Reed supporters on, in the Justice for Sandra Birchmore group. And, we understand, we get it. And, Matthew's off the streets. And that was the most important part of getting justice for Sandra. There's a long way to go when it comes to getting justice for her, but that was the first step. So, Shardy and baby Birchmore, absolutely. And that's one thing that we can't forget, that, he didn't just take Sandra's life. He killed the life of the baby that was growing inside of her. And we always want to make sure that we're getting that part of the case out there. Do I think if they'll go after his brother? I'm hoping. All I can say is they're still investigating. So, and I mean, Sandra's case is a trafficking case, at least in my eyes it is, especially when it comes to William. He was introducing her to other men. He was making her send. And when I say making her, yes, Sandra had free will as an adult. But when you're groomed, you don't have free will. They still had had their thumb on her. And we need to make sure that we're still pushing her case because of that. And we need to make sure first, next week, like I said, not this week, it's the 5th and 6th, that Robert Devine loses his license to operate as a police officer. And then the next step is that we get some charges to these guys. We can't let them get off scot-free. We can't. That's why we still operate as a group. It's not our group, now that Matthew's been arrested, it's not over. We still have a long, long way to go. And then there's beyond the case. We want to educate the public. We want to make sure that we're putting stuff out there to ensure that parents and children know what grooming looks like. So, a child can look at it and say, oh, this something's wrong here. And then a parent can look at it and say, there's something wrong here. So there's a lot of things that we're working on behind the scenes to try to get that stuff out there. Barb has been posting a lot of stuff on the Justice for Sandra Birchmore Facebook group, and also our justice page. So if you are somebody who is going through something and you have, whether it's domestic violence, or because Sandra's case also touches into the domestic violence realm. So whether, you're a person you're somebody who's going through domestic violence, or you're a young woman or boy or young man who is being groomed, or you're a child being groomed, we're trying to put out information and avenues for you to get some help. So please make sure you check our page. It's justiceforsandra.birchmore.com. It's the same as our Facebook group. And Barb has been posting them in both places. So let me go to the chat. Yes, they do move slow, especially when they're still investigating, especially when they want to make sure that they get everything. The feds don't arrest you unless they have the goods. But I think in Matthew's case, they were still investigating, but a lot of information was going to be turned over because of the civil case. And I think that's why they jumped when they did. Let me see. Farrell's brother in Divine had a hold on Sandra. Many are unable to understand and relate. Exactly. A lot of people just don't understand what grooming is. And a lot of people just say, a lot of people throw the word grooming around, and unfortunately that word has become bastardized and, you know, used to talk about other things, when there's a specific thing that happens to young children, and even, you know, even like older as teenagers, where they're susceptible to this person because they, you know, whether they have something going on in their home life, or they're bullied, or and they fall prey to these people, and it's not their fault. And I hope I'm not sounding like it's their fault. It's just that's how it works. You know, these predators, they find somebody that they think they can prey on. They feel like that person's easy prey. Hey, Eric, thank you for joining. Good to see you. God bless Sandra Birchmore, our baby. Yeah, exactly, Susan. Thank you. I hope my thing's not going to freeze again, guys, because my mouse is like drifting everywhere. Sandra was so young when it started. In a sense, she didn't know it was wrong. Yeah, and that's how most children are. It happens where they become conditioned to think whatever's going on is proper, or it's not. They don't realize that it's something that it's inappropriate, because these predators prey on them, and they you know, they condition a child to believe that this is how things are supposed to be. Oh, thank you, Kimberlina. Thank you for joining us. That's so sweet of you to say. So, okay, I want to go through, you know, like, I had a long weekend. I went down to, oh, sorry, I have ants in my house, and I just had one crawling on my hand. Yeah, I have to tape up my what is it called? We get ants in our house every year, and we usually spray our foundation, but we didn't this year, and they're just starting to get bad. But my AC is like right over here, and it has little slits open, so I got to tape it. Ugh. I hate when you just look and you don't even feel them on you. Oh, that's the worst part. I'm not like one of those people who are afraid of bugs. It's just when you look down and you see one on your hand, it's like crazy. Seems like the feds are delaying Farwell trial until Carrie case is over. To me, very possible. Scott, very, very possible. I do know that they're still investigating this case. I'm in contact with some witnesses, so I do know that they're still investigating. So it possibly could be because of Karen's case. I don't know if they're gonna, you know, keep Matthew separate, but also tie him into the corruption aspect of it. So that could be. So that's very possible what's going on. So one of the things I wanted, okay, so let me go back. So before that, it got me off topic. So I went down to you know, the Canton and Stoughton area on Saturday. On Saturday we had our monthly standout. We haven't been doing them for a while because I've been sick as most of you know, I've been sick for a while, but now I'm definitely getting better with my other what was preventing me from going down there. But now that I'm better with that, yeah, I just deal with my regular health issues, and I just learned to push through that stuff. But so we had our monthly standout. We're going to start doing those again. We are working on a Stronger Together standout. I am in talks with Jen Root and Deanna Corby. We are trying to figure out a time where we can do a standout at Morrissey's office. And then we will be doing another standout down at the State House. I don't have any dates for you, but I will definitely let you guys know when we do have those dates. We definitely want to make sure that we're still, hitting those areas hard, and they understand that we are not going anywhere and that we are a group of individual causes that do come together. And like I said, it's stronger together, and we support each other, and we need to make sure that we continue to support each other. We don't all have to love each other. We don't all have to like each other. There are portions of, even Justice for Sandra Birchmore or, Free Karen Reed that don't get along. That's fine. But as long as when we come together and we do these big events, we unite and make sure we're saying, we are stronger together and we are not going anywhere. We are going to continue to support Karen. We are going to continue to support, Just en Route. And especially to my heart, we're going to continue to support Sandra Birchmore. We aren't going to allow these injustices to continue, and we are not going to let them hide in the shadows. And we are all here to make sure and ensure that things change in especially Norfolk County, and then hopefully, reverberate out where it can, we can hopefully take this model and move it to other parts of Massachusetts and extend it out and until, other parts of the country can take what we're doing here and use them, to ensure that, families get justice, because it's very, very important. And I hope, for those of you, most of you that are in here, I know you guys all support Justice for Sandra Birchmore, but this is to the Free Karen Reed movement. I hope now that your eyes are open to what's going on. And I know a lot of you saw stuff before, but there are some people who just didn't understand what was going on when it comes to our justice system. Please make sure you don't close your eyes. Please make sure that you keep standing up for people who can't stand up for themselves. And when you see an injustice, it just takes one voice to stand up and say something, because other people will listen. Hello, thank you for joining us tonight. It's good to see you. We want to make sure that we're in this fight together. It's a community, and we got to make sure that we're taking care of each other. Because if our government is going to go against us, we have to be the ones to stand up and say, this is not right. And we're not going to let this go until, things are changed, things are fixed. Fucking sorry, guys. Well, I guess I'm not drinking any more of my Mountain Dew. I just had an ant try to drink my Mountain Dew. I should have known that was going to happen. I should have put something over it. Luckily, I have a ice cold water. So I drink my Mountain Dew for my migraines. It helps with my migraines. I would love to not drink as much Mountain Dew because I've been drinking a lot of it lately when I was having medication issues. But hopefully I can get my migraines to a better place in the next coming month or so. So anyway, so we did our Sandra Birchmore standout on last Saturday, not this past Saturday, the Saturday before on the 17th. And like I said, it was a great event. We had all many awesome people there, and we got a lot of people beeping and engaging with us, and it was awesome. And then Sunday, I went to the Dedham Free Karen Reed standout. And just so everybody knows, yes, it's a Free Karen Reed standout, but anybody can go. If you have a sign for Sandra Birchmore, they are all welcoming because they support, the Justice for Sandra Birchmore movements. There are people who hold Sandra Birchmore signs there. So don't be afraid to go there. They do it. It starts at 10 and it ends at noon. And then also there is a standout in Canton Center where they are you can't, they, they don't really want people to wear, free Karen Read shirts there, because that could be considered witness intimidation, because they are standing across from D&E Pizza, and they are doing the standout to get Chris Albert to resign. So if you come from the other standout, just, bring a shirt to change into, or turn your shirt inside out, however you want to do it. You can wear pink. I had pink on, but, so we went and stood there. It was interesting. Let me see. We believe Colin Albert drove by. Brian Albert drove by twice. That was a little concerning. I just, he's sketchy. So, obviously I don't trust that motherfucker, and none of us should. So, and then Papa Albert came by, and he stopped and was taunting all of us out front of, stopped in front of us. And it was kind of bizarre and weird. I get it. You're the dad. You got to stand up for your kids. But it was still bizarre and weird. And it was like childish. But I mean, coming from an Albert, should we expect less? No. Like I said, I get it. You got to defend your kids, but your kids are fucking assholes. Your family is a bunch of fucking assholes. So they deserve, Chris deserves to be protested against, and he needs to resign. It'll help Canton be able to move on from this madness that has been going on the last few years. And then I ended up staying an extra day. I had, spoken to my lovely host, Annie, and I asked her if I could stay an extra day so I could go down to the buffer zone and stand out for Karen Read. And that was awesome. It was an interesting day. There was a lot that happened. I have some videos to show you that I took. It was definitely, I picked the right day to go because there was some excitement that day. So actually it was before Karen went by, I went down to the buffer zone, and I started talking to Tim from Canton Cable. And for some reason, it's kind of funny because all the reporters are all dressed in black, and I was in a light blue sweatshirt, and I stuck out like a sore thumb. And I said to Tim, I'm like, should I stay here? He's like, yeah, just stay. And, if they kick you out, they kick you out. I was like, all right, I'll stay here. So I was like, where should I stand? And I was just standing up against the bar that's like right up against the street. And I was like, I'll just stay here. Who cares? Hello. Thanks for joining us tonight. I agree. Why would innocent people, you don't act like that if you're innocent. I mean, I might drive by and give you the finger, but I wouldn't stop and mock you. But I wouldn't seek you out either. I would just be like, whatever, I just wouldn't. To me, it's the way the father was acting, it was bizarre. It was just so bizarre. Thank you. I am always going to preach. I'm always going to keep speaking out, because that's how I've been since I was little. I've always been a big mom, so I was made to be able to speak out. So, okay. So I ended up staying right there, and Karen's car pulled up, and Karen saw me, and she got excited, and she started waving, and she brought the window down, and she was like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you. I'm like, I'm so happy to see you too. I was like, how are you? And we both were kind of like, it was kind of like a stupid question. Like, she's on her way into court. How do you think she is? But I asked that question because, it's something that we do in society. We ask the person we're talking to, how are you? And we're both kind of like, and, so we talked for a couple seconds, and then all of a sudden I hear the back window go down, and Alessi is at the window, and he leans back, and he's like, hey, and the whole team like waves to me, and I was like, oh. And so I got to say hi to everybody. that was really nice. And then the traffic started moving, so they went around the corner, and I was like, I'm here, I might as well take a video. So I whipped out my camera and I took a video. I'm going to show you guys right now. Come on. I hope I don't. If I apologize if I get bumped again, I will come back and I will show you the video. It's for those who just came. My computer has been acting up. I'm having problems with my internet, so I want this. Come on. There we go. So give me 1 second. I'm just going to make myself big and then I'll get it up after it loads. My mouse is like drifting all over the computer. It's hard to get. There. Come on. It's like my mouse is drunk and just going everywhere. This is crazy. There we go. Come on. Okay. All right, let me go to this. Okay. Wait,
I'm at lunchtime. Good morning.
So that was the walk-in that I got. It was kind of funny because because when Karen pulled up, I'm standing with the press, and so when Karen pulled up, she was talking to me, and the press all kind of looked over like, who is she? And it was weird. They all in unison turned when Karen was parked there. And then, we said bye. And I turned around and they were still like looking they all had this like glazed over look on their face. Like, who is she? And how does she know Karen? It was kind of funny to watch. Sorry, I'm just trying to read this. If you're ways away from the router, with your booster. Yeah, I have boosters, but they've made newer ones. So I think for my birthday, my mom's going to get me a newer booster. I have 3 of them. I'm going to get the newest booster and put it like downstairs, the room that's underneath me. And they say you got to let it sink for a little bit. And then if you need to, put the other ones in. So I'll put the old ones in to hopefully get it a little better. Because I'm having troubles with that's my problem. As I was saying before, when my dad insulated the house, he insulated it because he didn't want to pay money for heat. I mean, he was going to pay money for heat, but he wanted to make it as cheap as he could. So he over insulated our house. So I think that's why I'm having issues. It's having a hard time getting through my walls. But I'm going to hopefully get in June. My birthday's at the end of the month. And my mom asked me if there was anything she could get me for my birthday to make things a little better for my show. And I said a new camera. But I like today, the lighting and stuff, the photo's pretty clear. So I think I'm just going to have her get me the new booster, because that will greatly help me. Because, yeah, it's my internet is very spotty. So the rest of the day, Scott's here. He was here for the rest of the day. We were chilling. I spent a lot of time, most of the day, with Scott, down in the buffer zone. I didn't want a chance. I did go into the buffer zone. We're on the outside of the buffer zone. I did go into the buffer zone a little bit here and there. I went to, when I went to the restroom, and just to walk up and see what was going on. But I'm sure most of you know, yeah, Scott, I'm surprised. He said, I'm surprised Trooper Hardman let you stand with the credential media, Mizzy. Others have been blocked from being down there. It was just a weird situation. I just walked up, and when I walked up, there were no troopers right there. So I was able to walk into that area. And like I said, I stood out because everybody was dressed in black or gray, and I'm in a light blue sweatshirt. So I really, really stood out, and nobody came over. And I said to Tim, I should probably leave here. And he was just like, stay till they, something happens. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Might as well. I mean, they're not kicking me out. I might as well stay. I mean, if I'm not getting kicked out, why leave? So I said, fuck it. And I stayed. So then I went with Scott. Scott, gotta love Scott. He puts, a trash bag over his signs so he can walk through the buffer zone back down to the other side, because the side that they stand on, there's 200 feet, but if you go to the other side, it's still 400 feet. And obviously people want to stand closer. And so he has to walk through the buffer zone with, his stuff covered. And then he goes down the other side to where his truck is. And they have a wonderful setup. Scott, he brings an amplifier, and he plays the hearing louder, and people can watch on their phones while they're with their sound off. Boston Brandy and her husband brought a little TV, and we were able to watch some of the trial before they left. I think they left around 1:30. So I mean, there's a great setup down there. If you're local, go down and hang out with them. You could still listen to the trial and watch the trial on your phone. If you're afraid that your phone's going to die, Scott let me charge my phone in his car. There are other people who park right there. And if you need to charge your phone, you can bring your lunch. There's plenty of places in the area to go walk down and get a lunch. With my health issues, I can't stand for, 6 hours. So I brought, Annie brought up one of her chairs for me, and I just used that, and Scott took it for me. So, because I obviously I wasn't in a car, I had to get back home at some point. And for those who know, a couple of weeks ago, Erica Walsh, she was wearing Microdot's sweatshirt that says Norfolk, what does it say? Norfolk County is run by criminals. And they made her take her sweatshirt off. And she had under her sweatshirt a Turtle Boy sweatshirt. So they made her take her shirt off. I think they said she could turn it inside out. And she took it off and just walked to her car in a sports bra, which is absolutely, first of all, that sweatshirt should be allowed. It doesn't say Karen Reed at all on it, because it's not a Karen Reed sweatshirt. And so she was wearing that sweatshirt again on Monday. And, the trial's going on, and she went to go into the buffer zone, but she didn't fully go in. And Hardman, he saw her, and she turned around and came back. And they went over and talked to the Dedham police, because the Dedham police kind of stand down where we're situated. And she was like, what did they say to you? And they just basically said, you can't come into the buffer zone with that sweatshirt. So the lawyer Mark Randazza, he's been filing in federal court about the buffer zone. He's representing a bunch of different people, free camera read people. And, Erica called him and said, what's going on with the buffer zone? Because they're saying that it was supposed to be fixed, and it's not. It basically, Bev just rewrote her old order, so everything's the same. Now, you can go into the buffer zone if you're not wearing anything free camera read or Turtle Boy. You can wear pink in the buffer zone. You can go sit across the street at Registry of Deeds. But if a lot of people start showing up, if a lot of people start showing up, are they going to let like a huge crowd, like the amount of people that were there last year, sit over there? I highly doubt it. I bet they will start kicking people out of there. And so with the order, because basically we won the order to be able to for the buffer zone to change, and it hasn't. So Mark came down, and him and Erica went into the buffer zone, and they sat down for a little while. It was at lunchtime, and I went with them for a little bit, and then I walked back, and I look up, and I see it must have been Hardman. He got out of it was like, I called it a clown car because they were fucking clowns. They got out of a police van, and I see one of them get out, and then I see like 4 or 5 more get out, and then I saw them go up the street, and I couldn't quite see everything that was going on. And then when I finally started to focus, like, wait a minute, they're arresting Erica. Yeah, it ended up being like a great day. It worked out great. It did. It's like I hit the right day. I hit a day that was exciting, and also Alessi was destroying the clown on the stand. So anyway, so I'm like, oh shit, they're arresting Erica. So I walked up, and then for a second I was like, oh, I need to record this, because they were recording from the other end, and I was getting the other side where you can actually read her sweatshirt. So I want to play that video for you guys. Just give me a second. Oh no, wrong one. Crap. And it was crazy to see that they're arresting Erica Walsh for wearing a sweatshirt that has nothing to do with Karen Read. But you know who it has to do with? Them. It was a protest. That sweatshirt is a protest against them. So they can't let that stand. So let me play the video for you. They're arresting Erica right now. I don't know. I got it.
Well, because our shirt says criminals running Norfolk County.
Sorry, I muted myself because I thought I was going to sneeze before. Did you see how he stepped in front of me after I read her sweatshirt? So just because I read the words of her sweatshirt, he stepped in front of me. That is insanity. Like, that is insanity. And, Erica definitely took one for the team. And when I say took one for the team, like, I'm not saying, this huge conspiracy that people are talking about. No, she took one for democracy. She took one for the First Amendment. And we should be thanking her for that. She stood up. And I wish, if I was healthy, I would have been standing right next to her. But unfortunately, with my health issues, I can't take a chance. And I know these assholes would love to get me in cuffs, especially Fanning. So, I mean, they've been itching to arrest Erica for a while now. And, they did that day.
This is supposed to be America.
That's pretty much it. 1 second. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to just stop it right there. Sorry, my thing is. I swear, I'm probably hacked. Maybe that's what it is. And somebody else is trying to use my mouse. I don't know what's going on. So yeah, that was what happened that day. And it was crazy to watch. We're not allowed to wear, like, this is supposed to be America. We should be able to wear whatever the hell we want. And, it's not normal to not be able to protest at a courthouse. Look at what happened with Johnny Depp's trial. I'm sure there are people for Diddy. Even Trump. I understand because he's a president, they had to, put people further back. And whether you like him or you don't, he at that point he was a former president, and we have to protect him. I get that. I get there being a buffer zone there, but just because the Commonwealth doesn't want free carry to be seen, they're infringing on our civil rights. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. Luckily, Erica wasn't in there too long. She was able to get out that night, and she went to court the next day. But us as a society, we can't allow this. I don't know how we're going to change it. They're doing it the right way. They're going through the courts. But one way we can change it is show up in numbers. So if you're able to show up any day of court, please do. Please do, because the numbers aren't as big as they used to be. And a lot of it is because people are afraid of being arrested. People are afraid of what happened to Erica, you know, and we can't allow them to have the last word. We have to make sure we're out there standing up for our rights. You know, we're standing up. If you go there, you're standing up for Karen Read, but you're also standing up for yourself. You know, they're trying to squash the First Amendment, and we can't allow that to keep happening. And I'll be back down there at some point. I don't know when. I'll be back down there. So, you know, if you can, please show up. You know, go see Scott. Scott's there just about every day. And he doesn't go into the buffer zone. He stays on the outside because, you know, Scott has his reasonings. He feels like, what's the point if you can't hold a free Karen Read sign? What's the point? And I stand by what he says too. But if you want to go into the buffer zone, you can still wear pink. Just go down. Yeah, Scott, I agree. Scott is the OG, you know, and here, you know, with the Justice for Sandra Birchmore movement, you know, Scott was a very pivotal person to get Karen Read supporters to look at Sandra's case also, you know. He was one of the people who were staying in the chat rooms. I say it all the time. You know, I would see him in the chats for other on creators' pages saying, you know, Justice for Sandra Birchmore. People need to look at the Sandra Birchmore case. You know, this is proving it's not just, you know, Karen Read isn't happening in just a vacuum. It's a lot of things that are going on, and they're really trying to infringe on our rights to stand up and speak out, and it's wrong. Mizzy, I can't wait until I'm better so I can go to standouts. Yeah, come join us. Thank you for all you do. Our state is supposed to be a liberal state. What the hell? Yeah, I mean, but you know what it is? It's about power. My thing is going haywire. I apologize, guys. My mouse is just like all over the place. I should just unplug it and just use the one on my computer. Yeah, we all need to stand up, and it's not about, you know, this happens in red states too. It's about power. When these people get in power, they don't want to lose the power. So what do? They step on other people's rights. And Michael Morrissey is a perfect example of that. Beverly Cannoni, Judge Bev, is a perfect example of that. They don't care about our rights. They care about their power. That's all they care about. So, hi, Mark. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you. So, that was kind of my plan of what I wanted to talk about tonight. There's one other thing, and whether you support, you know, George Floyd or you don't, I'm going to play this because I told Jen I would, but let me just get rid of this. But, you know, I want to talk about this part, and it goes along with what I was just, George Floyd's uncle was in town on Wednesday, and they had a press conference at the Capitol, the State House. I'm sorry, the State House. And I'm going to play that because Jen Root ended up going, and she was able to speak. I was invited. I wasn't able to go. My mom, one of my mom's closest friends, passed away, and I needed to be up here for that. But this goes with something. I'll talk about it after, but I wanted to play this for you guys. So, like I said, I told Jen that I would play it. I just want to close a few things. Hopefully this will help things run a little smoother. You know, oh, don't worry about it. I get called Missy all the time. I don't take offense to that. There's there's probably one or two words you can call me that I'll take offense to. You know what? I think my mouse is dying. Maybe that's what it is. So don't worry about calling me Missy. That is quite okay. So percent. Screen. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Just give me 1 second. The George Floyd. No, there's no George Floyd. Let me just use my computer. It'll be faster. Okay. Let me do this. Okay. Here we go. Sorry about that, guys. Come on, play. It's probably going to play a commercial first.
And I broke that news to George Floyd's uncle just a little while ago. He said this will be chaotic, but he's still confident that meaningful changes in policing are still possible.
Let's all make a stand and strive to break free.
Men who were wrongfully convicted and exonerated, and families of people killed by police gathering at the State House today.
You took my son without my permission. Now I'm crying, praying, and wishing that justice be served.
We will never get to truth and transparency as long as law enforcement is investigating themselves.
We will win, but the only way we win is to stay together.
George Floyd's uncle, Selwyn Jones, was the keynote speaker here, reacting in real time as we told him the news that the Justice Department will drop police reform agreements with the city of Minneapolis. It will be 5 years this weekend that Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd, sparking nationwide protests.
We created a movement. We created change. We just have to keep our foot on the pedal, man.
The agreement sought to fix allegations of systemic and unconstitutional policing and civil rights violations. Jones wonders if President Trump will pardon Chauvin next.
So it's just another obstacle that we have to maneuver around, but we're getting pretty tired of maneuvering around blatant murder, blatant chaos, blatant destruction.
Now, Minneapolis is this move by the Trump administration and also said his city is serious about police reform. We're live here on Beacon Hill.
Okay. I wanted to play this, especially not just for, here, let me remove that. Not just for, that, because I wanted to play it for Jen, because I told her I would play it. But you know how they said that the FBI is no longer investigating Karen's case. Well, partially is because of kind of what they were talking about. When the new administration took over, they put a cease on civil rights cases. This goes into, Karen's case was a civil rights case, the violations against how they violated her civil rights. And like I said, I'm not making this about red, blue, Democrat, Republican, anything like that. A lot of this stuff happens when, a new administration comes in. But I've been saying this for a while, that this might be the reason, if the FBI is no longer looking into Karen's case, this might be the reason why, because the civil rights cases were halted. And hopefully, if this is the case, they start changing that, because, we need the civil, we need DOJ to continue looking into civil rights violations. It affects all of us. A lot of people think that policing doesn't affect them because they don't have any, they don't commit crimes, or, they don't talk to the police. They hardly ever see the police. But it does affect you. If people in your community are hurting because their civil rights are being violated, who's to say they're not going to violate your civil rights? I'm not a burn it all down and, ACAB. I think we need to work with the police to fix policing, but they have to be willing to work with us. And that is part of the problem. We as a public, we as a society need to fix policing in this country. We cannot allow what happened in Canton to Sandra and John as victims and as Karen as a victim. But I mean, when I say victims, I mean two people who were murdered and their investigations were bungled. And pin it on the girl. Pin it on the girl. They pinned it on Karen and they pinned it on Sandra. Sandra just is not here to fight. That's why I said to Karen when I met her, thank you for fighting, because it made it easier for me to fight for Sandra. We can't allow these injustices to keep happening, because when they do it once, they'll do it again, and they'll do it again, and they'll do it again, as we see what happened in Norfolk County, because they did it to Just en Route, they did it to Sandra, and they did it to John. Those are three victims, three people who were murdered, executed, murdered, and Karen, both Sandra and John were murdered, and Karen was framed. We can't allow these injustices to continue to happen. That's why we all need to work together. And that's one thing I do like about, the Free Karen Reed movement and the Justice for Sandra Birchmore movement and the Just en Route movement. It's not about whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, or if you're Black or white, Asian, anybody, whatever you are. We're all here to make a difference together. It's not about one person. It's about us. It's about we. And I'm thankful to be a part of this community. And yes, and we can't forget. We can't forget Enrique Delgado Garcia. We cannot forget him. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Thank you. Well, hold on. Thank you, Eric. Thank you. Exactly. We cannot forget Enrique. If they'll do it to one of their own, what are they going to do to us? Everybody should be afraid of that. Everybody should be scared of that. We as a community need to make sure we're standing up, and we're standing out. We're making as much noise as we could. As John Lewis used to say, it's called good trouble. Standing up and protesting the police, and protesting injustices, and protesting, whether somebody's wrongfully convicted or they were murdered. They both fall in the same category of the police not doing their job properly. It is not just the police. As we know, it's the prosecutors. We need prosecutors to do their job and not worry about their numbers. Excuse me, my voice is getting scraggly. And not worry about their conviction numbers. We need them to be honest brokers and not go after innocent people, or not take up cases that they're gonna lose just to pad their stats, because that happens a lot too. There are prosecutors who don't give a damn whether or not somebody is guilty. They care about, their stats. Oops. I, for one, don't believe the DOJ has ended their investigation into Karen Reed case. I believe they may have ended their investigation into John O'Keefe's death. That doesn't mean it's over. Keep going, Missy. Absolutely. And I've been thinking that myself. Just they might have all the information they need about, John O'Keefe's case and Karen's case. And a lot of people ask why they haven't come in. because it's not their jurisdiction. They did come in with Sandra, but they can't come in. Sorry, my lipstick's chaffing. They can't come in and just take over a court case in court. That's being charged right now. Unfortunately, Bev needs to throw out the case, and we know she's not going to do that because she's not an honest broker. When people ask why, it's because she's beholden to Michael Morrissey. He got her that seat. And there's familial ties. Not familiar. What am I saying? There's ties between his wife and her mother, and people say, oh, that's not. Some people say that's not a big enough tie. You know what? Sometimes it is. We don't know how close they're. We don't know how close they are. We don't know how much they. If they clicked and they spent, cookouts and stuff together, their families. We don't know this. So that's why we can't take our feet off the gas. We need to keep putting our feet pedal to the metal. We need to keep going. We need to keep hitting them hard and going out, making sure they know we're not going anywhere. Because I know for sure I'm not going anywhere. And hopefully you guys aren't either. And it doesn't matter if you live here. It doesn't matter if you live in Norfolk County or you live outside of it. I live outside of the county. I don't live there. I take a bus and a train to get there, but it's because I feel it's important for me to voice myself and get out there and make sure my voice is heard. Make sure I keep telling them I am not leaving until this is over. We say when it's over, not them. Hi, Wicked Psyched. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, you're in Philly. Thank you for being here. Thank you for standing up with us. Thank you for support. There's a support role where no matter where you live, hopefully. Sorry guys, I'm freezing up again. It doesn't matter if you live here. We need you to help support us, just by watching these shows, just by sharing and liking. Oh, by the way, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. I'm almost at 2,000, and every little bit helps. I'm almost able to become monetized, and not that I'm not gonna do like super chats during my Sandra streams, but I will be doing other streams soon. I might be going to 2 nights a week after the trial. I want to do one night on Sandra and one night on one of my old cases, so I can get you guys to see some of the other cases I've covered. And you'll see, they're not all from this area. They are all up and down the Eastern Seaboard. And, those who were here last time I streamed, I talked about the Brandon Embry case. There are a lot of other cases out there that I want to bring to you guys. And it's very important that we all stick together, no matter where you are, whether you live in the United States or in a different country. Speaking up, you can't let them take away your voice. It's so important. That's why our forefathers made it the first of the amendments. We got to make sure we're still using our First Amendment. We can't let them take that away from us. Lizzie, you're doing awesome. We love you. No need to apologize. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My voice is starting to get scraggly. Excuse me, I need some water. Oh, thank you. I don't know who you are because you're using your online name, but I assume it was lovely meeting you too. It was love. I met so many people last weekend. It was awesome. Got to see some people that I haven't seen in a while, and it's amazing. I love meeting you guys. I love meeting everybody new. And getting to see people that I've known for a little while now. You're in the North Shore of Massachusetts, so they have plenty of things that go on in North Shore. If you ever want to come down and join us, once a month we do this Justice for Sandra Birchmore standouts. We will have our next date soon. I'm kind of waiting to see when we do we're planning something for Morrissey's office, so I want to make sure we have that first, and then I'll get the Justice for Sandra Birchmore one up. I might do it on my birthday weekend. I don't know. I haven't decided. Okay, I think I know who you might be. I think one of two people. So if you're the people I thought you are, actually I met a couple people there. It was lovely meeting you too. Oh, okay. I know exactly who you are. It was lovely meeting you. It was definitely lovely meeting you. Wow, you're in Canada. Thank you for being here. And I missed the chat. What? It's hard for me to scroll. So Timberman up in Ireland. Wow. I mean, out in Ireland. Thank you for being here. Thank you for Shari D for sharing that, because with my mouse not working, I couldn't scroll up. So are there any questions that you guys have? So basically, that was pretty much my weekend, and I planned on doing a show early, like Wednesday, but it was tough for me to get back in the swing of things. I was there a lot longer than I expected to be, because I was supposed to go home Monday, like afternoon, and ended up staying because of like what happened with Erica, and just ended up staying. And I got a ride home from Minion Mike. Thank you, Mike, for bringing me home. And then Mike said, "Do you want to go to the dive bar?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go for the dive bar pizza night." And that was awesome too. Got to meet a lot of people there and had fun. And Scott, I almost came over and crashed your interview to say hi to Justice Served, but I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be rude. But so I figured I'll be good, and I'll stay on my side of the room. I won't come over there and crash your interview. I didn't want to do that to you. So, but yeah, I finally got to see what, because Annie talks about it a lot, and I finally got to see what went on there. So does anybody have any questions, concerns, want to say anything? Hi, Robin. How are you? How are you doing tonight? Thank you for coming in. Let me see if I can't remember. I think I touched upon everything. Yeah, you too. It's always nice to meet you guys. I mean, I don't get down there, that often. I don't go to all the care and read standouts. We only do one once a month. So it's so awesome to meet people. And, especially meeting people who are in other chats who I, comment to and stuff like that. Here, it's not always as easy to see every comment in here. I try to, but meeting people who, who I talk to in other, other creators' chat rooms, it's lovely to meet people. I actually did not know Sandra. I saw it on when the Stoughton police report dropped. I saw it on the local news, And I was instantly irate. I was yelling at my TV. I was in my room folding clothes, and I was just disgusted by what they were saying. And they weren't even talking about her death. They were talking about, what these men had done to her. And then one of her friends got on the screen and said, she died, and she said it was a suicide. And I was like, no, it wasn't. I knew instantly that these men did it to her. At least one of them, or the group of them, did. And I was just, my mind was just blown, because I knew something was wrong. And I started looking into the case, but I didn't do a deep dive till my friend Sarah asked me about the case. And then she's the reason. Once we start talking about Brandon's case, we're going to do a little bit. When I bring her on, we'll talk for a few minutes about what happened. And, she's kind of the one who gave me the push, and I'm glad she did, because I eventually would have dived deep into Sandra's case. But that push helped me, and that push kicked off the Justice for Sandra Birchmore movement. Other people had been covering her case, especially the guys from the Case podcast. And if you guys have not read that, watch that or listen to it, please do, because they do an awesome job, especially in the early portion of Sandra's case. And, the Boston Globe was covering it. And, I feel like there was, a baton was passed to us. That's how I look at it. Like, it was a relay, and a baton was passed to our group, and we took it on. So, I appreciate all of you for, being there with us and taking on Sandra's case, and, feeling like it's not just a me, it's a we. Granted, Barb and I have started this group, and we push it out there, and we, get all the information out daily. But it can't be just me, or it can't be just, Barb and like Annie in our group. It's everybody who comes to our standouts. It's all of you who come here to hear me talk about Sandra's case and get the information out there. Like, a lot of you weren't in here at the beginning of the show. Robert Devine has his post-commission hearing coming up on the 5th and 6th. And I will be streaming that, but it's important that we keep our eyes on that. We can't allow him to continue to have his license to operate as a police officer. And right now he's suspended. His license is basically a holding pattern. But if he wins his case, that means he could go back and become a police officer. Hopefully nobody will hire him, but he could do detail work, and everybody should be afraid of that. Everybody should be afraid that he would become a police officer again. It just can't happen. Let me see. Runkle's chat with Betterow as a guest last week recommended Just Thought Lounge YouTube channel, Birchmore episode from September 24. So amazing to see you, Mizzy. Oh, did they talk about Sandra on that on there? I'll have to check it out. I always love watching Betterow. I met Betterow at the first big Karen Reed fundraiser that they did, Karen's people did. And he shocked me like how flattering he was, and to me. And I was like wow. And he said that the work that I've been doing and that my group has been doing was amazing. And one of the things that he said to me is, it's not going to be Karen, it's not going to be Turtle Boy, it's not going to be any of these other cases that's going to get Michael Morrissey. It's going to be Sandra's case. And I would love that if it was Sandra's case that brought Michael Morrissey down, because it's already been proven that they should have arrested him. it's already been proven, you know, that they're wrong. So I hope it would bring me nothing but pleasure if Sandra's case is the case that brings Michael Morrissey down. Like, that would be like, make me so happy. I'm having issues, can't scroll up. So I'm just going to co-sign what Robin said. Boston Brandy, it's good to see you. It was good hanging out with you last week. You know, I've only spent time with you a couple times, but I always enjoy hanging out with you. Let me see. For those who haven't been here, I think my mouse is dying, so I'm having issues, like it's going haywire. So let me use my computer. Yes. I loved hanging out with you. And Brandy's the one who brought the TV, so it was good. It's really nice if you're sitting outside of the courtroom and you get outside of the buffer zone, you get to watch it, you know, still watch it on TV. Like I said, Scott brings that, he amplifies it, so, you know, through a speaker, and you can still watch it on your phone, but it was nice to sit there with the TV. Timmerman, Mizzy, I'm deeply impressed with your dedication to Sandra's case. I first heard your name on the Young Jerks. Your message has reached Ireland. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Mike was one of the earlier people to bring me on. I had done a couple other shows. I'm not going to say the names because, yeah. Anyway, but I did a couple other shows, but you know, Mike was the first larger, you know, streamer that brought me on his show, and I'm so thankful to him for that. And you know, he's brought me on a couple times, and you know, he introduced me to Rob, who's a former you know, FBI agent, and he helped me a lot with some stuff behind the scenes. And I'm so excuse me, give me one second. I'm so thankful that he brought me on for that episode that we did, because it helped me out so much behind the scenes. And you know, this community, I mean, we all do our own things, and I'm slowly building back up. You know, I was doing good for a while, and then I got sick. But you know, this community is great. Yes, you know, it's hard to find time with the bigger streamers, but finding your niche, and we all help each other. You know, they've helped. You know, Mike from the Young Jerks, the Glare. He's had me on a bunch of times. You know, LTL. I've been on a bunch of other shows. You know, they helped me so much to get Sandra's case out there. It was imperative for me to get in front of people and for them to see, you know, for me to talk about Sandra's case, so I could get in front of an audience that was already seeing, you know, Karen's case and knowing that something was wrong, and to, you know, be able to get out there more and get Sandra's case out there. It wouldn't have happened without these partners that I've had along the way. You know, like I said, the Young Jerks, you know, the Glare, LTL, and the other shows I've been on. And even Turtle Boy, I mean, like, he talks about Sandra's case all the time. You know, him and I have talked, you know, behind the scenes, but not a lot. We've met a handful of times, but, you know, we're not like in, you know, big communication, but he's pushed Sandra's case a lot, especially once he realized that her case wasn't a suicide. I mean, when her case wasn't a suicide, it was a murder. You know, he's pushed the case too. You know, so many other people too. You know, Melanie Little's done episodes on her case, and yes, Microdots. Yes, my boy Microdots. I cannot wait till we finish what we were working on before. You know, and so many other people are now, mentioning Sandra's case, Andrea Burkhart let me use a clip from her show. It's awesome to see all these other, and Karen Reed's team and Karen Reed, just by them mentioning it, especially in the pre-trial hearings, just them mentioning it and her name being put out there to the public where a lot of people are watching, it's helped so much, especially since Sandra's case is federal, and even though it's been moved a few times, it's still not going to be seen. So it's going to be out of sight, out of mind for people unless they go to the court, go in court. You're not going to see stuff. So it's going to be imperative for us to make sure that we're putting the case out there as much as we can. And, it's been my honor to go on all these shows. It's been, I'm so thankful that, everybody's talked about Sandra. Yeah, I agree. It's like both. I said to Barb the other day in text, she didn't really get what I was saying. It's like a circular thing. Like, Karen's case helps Sandra, but Sandra's case helps Karen because Sandra's case proves that there is corruption in the Norfolk County's office. Her case proves that they aren't afraid to suppress a case for a cop. So it's this, like, they both help each other. One hand washes the other. And that's why I on almost every show I go on, I've mentioned that Karen's case has helped me so much to be able to put eyes on Sandra's case. And, again, Sandra's case proves the corruption. It proves the aspect of what Karen's team is trying to portray, that, there's something wrong here. And there's something wrong in Sandra's case too. We all know it. And the FBI has proved it, that there was a case. By the FBI coming in and saying that Sandra was murdered, it shows that there is something wrong. There's a comment I want to scroll back up to. Let me see if I can. Of course, it's not going to work. Yeah, I agree, Shari. It takes a village. We all have to be here. We have to be the voice for the voiceless. Sandra and John and Justin, they can't speak anymore. So they need all of us to keep speaking out about their cases. Even like, say, Karen's case, I got Barb into the case. She even bought a Microdots mug that says framed. My mom is obsessed with the case now. Hi, Mom. I know you're listening. As I'm down in the buffer zone, she's over here texting me, oh my God, Leslie's amazing. And it's people hear even just the gist of the case, a little bit of the case, they realize something is wrong. And the same thing with Sandra's case. Like, when you start telling them the case, they think you're crazy at first, and then they're like, something is wrong. What is going on in Norfolk County? Thank you. We have a lot of, things in the works, and we're working on a lot of things behind the scenes, and we'll have announcements coming up soon. Something big coming at the end of the summer, and a few other things that we're working on that I can't go into right now, but we have some things that we're working on. We want to ensure Sandra's legacy isn't what happened to her. She's not just a girl who was murdered. She's not just a girl who was groomed. She's not just a girl who was abused. She was a living person, And we want to make sure that isn't her legacy. We want to make sure her legacy, Sandra was the type of person, she wanted to be in service. She wanted to be a police officer. And then she was going to be a nurse. She was just about to start nursing school. So she was somebody who wanted to be in service to her community. So we want to make sure that as her legacy, we continue that in her honor to make sure that her name can be in service to others. What happened to her can be in service to others, so it doesn't happen to anybody else. We want to make sure that that's her legacy. Yeah, that Ellen Greenberg case is insanity. If you guys don't know, she's a young woman who was murdered, but they said she killed herself, and her case is almost more outrageous than Sandra's, like saying she killed herself. They say she stabbed herself numerous times in the back of her neck and the back of her head. Like, nobody does that to themselves. And the authorities want us, and the medical examiner want us to believe that she did this to herself. Maybe I'll cover that case too once I get through the cases that I've worked on. I want to make sure that I start with those because I know those cases a lot. I know Ellen's case, but I don't know it like all the details, and I would rather have a lot more details. Absolutely, yes. Especially for small creators, commenting on live streams after the fact helps push the streams out according to something. Yeah, it's absolutely true. It's for the YouTube algorithm. It helps. So, make sure you guys all like this, because that will help push it out more. And, if you can't watch somebody's stream, if you can watch my stream at another time, you can't be here for the live, it's so much appreciative because it helps push it out there. Commenting, liking, sharing, and especially subscribing. It helps, especially small creators. But like look at Melanie Little. She just hit over 100,000 earlier this week. Congratulations, Melanie. But even like that, it helps. It helps that person get out there. It helps push them out there more. Let me see. Let me get back to the. Oh. Scroll down. Okay. I'm not sure how many stab wounds, but it was numerous stab wounds. It wasn't like it was one, it was numerous stab wounds in the back of her head and her neck. Like that, it doesn't happen. Yes, that case is in PA. I'm not sure. It might be near Pittsburgh, but I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I've never done a deep dive into that case. It's been a case that I've watched from afar, but it's a case that's very concerning, and everybody should pay attention to that case because, Ellen deserves justice, and her family, deserve to have some justice, and they're out there fighting for her. And it's actually kind of funny, not funny, haha, but ironic. Barb and I were doing Banfield one night, and it was after Matthew Farrell's hearing, and Ellen's parents were doing the show that night, but they ended up bumping us, and they bumped us a few times. So it was, they put our two cases together almost because it was like both cases would have confirmed each other, like each other's case, saying, something's wrong in these cases. I don't know why, but when I am up in my room, my lips get so dry and my my lipstick starts to cake and it like drives me bonkers. So excuse me for wiping my face on screen. I realized when I was doing my makeup, because I checked my makeup, I went on to check my lighting, and I got to start doing my makeup like I used to when I performed. When I used to sing. I'm a singer, songwriter, and I used to perform all around Boston. And when I did shows, I would have to like put on, basically paint my face. And I realized that when I come on here, like if you notice this side's like more like my cheeks redder than this side. So I realized that I got to start doing my makeup like I'm performing. So that's why I have darker lipstick on tonight. Because if I don't, I look washed out, and I don't use filters. Anyway, don't want it to go in my teeth. Excuse me. Okay, back to being a normal human being. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Is there any other cases you guys are interested in besides Sandra's case and besides Karen's case? Are there any local cases that you guys are hearing about? I know not all of you are in Massachusetts, but you can even name a case that's near you that you think isn't getting enough eyes on it. Maybe it's something that like once I start doing my second night, like I said, I plan on talking about Sandra's case. What I'll do is I'll talk about Sandra's case one night, and then the second night I'll cover another case. But at the beginning of that episode, I will tell you all the the things that are coming with Sandra's case. But I think I'm going to see if there's a young woman. Her name's Jordan, and she covers all cases in New England, and they're all unsolved. And we did an episode together, and we filmed another episode that I never ended up releasing. So I might see if she'll come on and a few times, and we can go over like one or two of her cases a night, and you guys can ask questions about it. Because there are a lot of, and I'll go over that, especially episode that we did, that I did put out there. We'll go over that one because there's some really interesting. There's one. I can't remember her last name, but her first name is Katrina, and she was an exchange student. She was not an exchange student. She was an au pair from another country, and she was murdered and dismembered in downtown Boston, and the case is still unsolved, and it's very disturbing. So that's a case that I would love for you guys to hear about. It's a hard case to hear about, but it's cases that need to get out there. Yeah, I'll sing sometime. I can't do it tonight because you guys can hear my voice is very froggy. But yeah, I'll sing sometime for you guys. I'm thinking about actually one of my songs was what in the 90s, me performing around Boston or that case? Because I don't remember if Katrina's case was in the 90s, but me performing around Boston was. It was when I was like in high school in my early 20s. But I'm thinking about maybe I was gonna I have a theme song I've had it written for a long time because I was gonna use it before when I was doing my I'm not sure. I will have to look up, and I will definitely get you guys get back to me. Actually, you know what? I can look it up on the phone. Let me click out of here and go into my cases. Oh, her name is Katrina Holmes. That it just reminded me. Katrina Holmes. No, she's not coming up. Murder. Let me put that in there. Oh, the crime junkies were covering it. It looks like it might have been around 2017. I don't know if that's right. Like everything's popping up for me. But I will get back to you guys so I can get it out there. The episode is in, if you want to watch it, you can definitely see it in my old episodes. But it's a crazy case, and there's a couple other cases on there that need to be, talked about. She has so many. She's such an amazing writer and researcher. Her name's Jordan, and she's awesome. She is awesome. You're welcome. Yeah, like I said, I had done a bunch of cases before I started Sandra's case, so I want to get those out there. So I think that's what I'm going to start doing. Once I can get myself up to doing 2 shows a week, I'll do one probably like Sunday or Monday, and then I'm thinking maybe Thursday nights, and do want to cover Sandra definitely one night, and cover the other cases on like the second night, and get it out there, because there's a lot of stuff that that people don't realize is going on. And also it shows you the cases that I've covered, they all have an element, except the ones I did with Jordan, all have an element of police corruption. Whether it be like Brandon's case, they like similar to Sandra's, it was a bungled investigation, and they said Brandon did it to himself, and there's no way. There is absolutely no way that Brandon Embry did it to himself. Oh, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night. I appreciate it coming in from Ireland. Thank you. Come back and join us again. It was great having you on. Yeah, there's a lot of cases that people don't know about, and it's stuff that needs to get out there, and I just want to make sure that these cases don't go away because people aren't paying attention. There's another case that my brain is starting to not remember things. Trish Haynes. Yes, Karina Holmes, an au pair from Sweden, 96. Okay, thank you. Thank you for getting that information, Hank. Hank's broken pencil. Thank you for, let me put that up so everybody can see it. Whoops. Yes, Sweden au pair. Yes. Thank you. Yep. I don't remember that part. She dated a cop. I did not know that. Or I just remember there was something inappropriate with her employer, but I did not know that about the part of the date. She dated cops. I did not know that. I will definitely have to look at the case again. It's been a while. It's been a couple years. Well, that's interesting. That puts a whole spin on the case if you think about it. Yeah. I know she had the family that she was a well, if you want to give me some of that information, I would love it. I think my email address, if my email address is in my bio, but if not, I'll start putting it into my my show notes. So MALISMA2974 @gmail. Here, I'll put it in the Because I know Jordan would love that information too. Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you had that information. Yeah, that's a crazy case. And like I said, and that, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's a, like, I didn't cover it much. I only did like the with Jordan, and like, she sent me a bunch of articles and like the stuff that she had gathered, and wow. I don't even know if Jordan knows that. So I'll definitely reach out to Jordan. Wow, my mind is wandering now. But so, there's a lot of cases I want to make sure people hear about that. Like I said, all the cases that I covered had an element of police corruption, and I want to make sure that I keep pushing those cases too, along with Sandra's case. Now that I'm doing live streaming lives, because for so long it was just the last 2.5 years have been like about Sandra, and it's definitely, Sandra is my main focus. I want to continue talking about Sandra's case. I will always talk about Sandra's case, even after these men are in jail and everything is done. But there are other cases I want to make sure that I'm putting out there, especially the local ones. And I want to make sure that I keep, talking about these cases, because, these cases go away. What I was about to mention was a case by a young woman was murdered and dismembered in New Hampshire. Her name's Trish Haynes. And her case is awful. I know the state just met with her aunt, who has been the person who's at the forefront of pushing her case out there. Eventually, I want to try to have her aunt come on and do a live with me so she can talk about the case. But I'll play the episode I did with her. Unfortunately, the lighting is a little off. I tried to fix it as much as I could, but her lighting's too dark and mine was a little too bright. So trying to meet in the middle was hard, but it's watchable. It's more about the content, never mind the some of the what it looks like. But I want to, oh, thank you for coming. Thank you, Shardy. Thank you. Thank you for being here. You're always such a, wonderful supporter, and I appreciate you. Thank you, Sue. But it takes a community, I might be doing advocacy, but it takes all of us. It takes an army, we all have to be. Thank you, Hank's broken pencil. It's a community, it can't just be one person, it takes everybody to open their ears and hearts to be able to get these cases out there. Well, I'm going on 2 hours. Are there any questions that you guys have tonight? Any questions about Sandra's case? Any questions about, what happened when I was down in Massachusetts? I had a wonderful weekend last weekend, did a lot of advocacy in a short amount of time, but I loved every moment of it. And I can't wait to get back down. It was definitely it felt like a long weekend in a short amount of time, like in a 2 hours, 2 days. Well, actually ended up being 3 days, 3-day span. That's why it took me so long to recuperate. And also my dog is I call her a barking banshee. At like 7 a.m, she starts barking, and acting like a lunatic. And like, it's the worst way to wake up, a dog barking so loud. No, let me click on it. Oops. Thank you. Oh yes, dogs rule. Absolutely. I love her, but she's crazy. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you for all you do. Stay safe. Try to. That's why I try to get in and out of Norfolk County. I know I'm not one of their favorite people. If I lived there, I would get in so much trouble. You know, obviously I want to be healthy, but I'm kind of glad I'm not because of what's going on. I would get into way too much trouble. I like cats, but I'm allergic to cats, so and cats is one of my worst allergies. But I like them. They always come up to me and like, because they know I'm allergic to them. But I like them, and especially kittens, little gray kittens or little black kittens. They're so cute. It's not just one person. It's all of us. We all have to continue speaking out. And right now, Karen needs us, but so does Sandra, and so do so many others. And for those who weren't here, we're at the beginning. We are planning another Stronger Together event. We're planning for Morrissey's office. When I have the information, I will definitely get it out to you guys. And we're planning another one for the State House. So once I have the information, I will get it out to you guys. And hopefully the locals will definitely show up. We need all of you to show up, and we'll make sure it's streamed for those of you who can't be there. But we want to make sure that hold on one second. We want to make sure that we get to those two places to make sure we keep telling them that we are not going anywhere. We are here to make sure that that our voices are heard. Hi, Miss Jessica. Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Didn't feel like doing my hair, so I did like the slick back bun. So is there any questions for, that you guys have tonight? What do you guys have going on for the rest of the weekend? Are you guys all off tomorrow, or do you guys have to go back to work? Any cookouts, or did you guys do all the cookouts yesterday and today, and tomorrow's relaxing? I said at the beginning of my stream, this weekend isn't just about, our cookouts and eating hot dogs and hamburgers and watching fireworks. We got to make sure that we pay homage to the people who gave their lives for us to be free. And I know sometimes right now, especially with what's going on in Norfolk County, we don't always feel free, but the United States is freer than a lot of other countries. And there are a lot of men and women who gave their lives to make sure that we were able to live our lives. So we got to make sure that we honor them, especially tomorrow on Memorial Day. They defended us to be able to have the First Amendment. So we got to make sure that we honor them. And it's more than just cookouts and hot dogs and hamburgers and potato salad. It's about them and honoring them. It's more than just a kickoff to summer. It's about honoring all these men and women who stood up for this country and, and defended other countries. So make sure you honor them, thank them, say a little prayer or whatever you feel like doing, but just make sure you take a little time to thank them. I want to make sure I said that again. I think and we should honor, Miss Jessica, who just came in here. She's a veteran. We need to honor our veterans more, and we need to honor those who allowed us to be free more. I don't want to get too much on a soapbox, but we need to make sure that, we take care of our veterans. And unfortunately, a lot of the homeless are veterans. And, that's one of the things this country does not do enough is take care of their veterans. And I wish we took care of them more. So, yes, Miss Jessica, thank you for serving your service. But this week is definitely to honor those who died in service to us. But soldiers, vets always will take a thank you. So trying to think if there was anything else I needed to get out there. I'll repeat some of the stuff I said at the beginning. On the 5th and 6th, the 5th and 6th, Robert Devine has his post-commission hearing in front of the commission board. I will be streaming those if I can. I'm not 100% sure if those are if they're a closed session or if it's online. I will definitely be streaming both of those. On my poster, it says it starts at 10. I will let you guys know at the end of the week because they usually post about Thursday or Friday. They mail out the information. And once I get the information, I will let you guys know. I will definitely have them for when I stream on Sunday. I'm going to try to stream again. And then also again, Matthew Farwell's date has been moved to July 1st. And as far as I know, that is an in-person court date. And obviously it's not, because it's a federal case, it's not something we could stream. It's not something that there are cameras for. But I will definitely, if it's in person, we will definitely be there. And we will be there for 9 o'clock. The hearing starts at 9:15. We do a small standout. Last time we just had our banner. We don't want to bring a lot of signs and that there. I know Scott popped up and he brought his sign. He stayed outside. He didn't go in. But we had our banner and then we just put it in the car and went inside. If we could get a good amount of people there, you can go into the proceedings if they allow it. I hopefully will have more information on that soon. And if not, I will definitely make sure that I put the information out there so you guys will know before then. But I'm hoping that we can go in person. Miss Jessica, it was my honor. I joined because my brother, who had muscular dystrophy, I'm so sorry, Jessica, who was unfortunately murdered by his nursing home. Oh my God. My tie with this case especially is because I served with both Matthew and Billy. Oh my God. Jessica, I didn't even know that about your brother. I am so, so sorry. Oh my goodness. Wow. Oh, that's horrific. If you don't mind me asking, the nurse, was it, what are they called? One of those type of nurses who, murder their patients because they feel like they're putting them out of their misery, but they are somebody who's just like obviously psychopath. Yes, I was the Army Bomb Squad unit. I was the first person to put ARRCA technology and MRAPs in Afghanistan. Oh, wow. Jessica is a badass and she's gorgeous. I mean, this if you ever see Jessica, she is a knockout. She did what was it, the calendar that they did or something like that? You did, Miss Jessica? Miss Jessica is awesome. Yeah, she knows the Farwells from her military service, and her and I haven't had our chance to talk about it, but we will sometime be able to talk about it. It's there. I can't believe that William is still, I'm not surprised for some of the stuff I know, but that William is still in the military. Hopefully, some charges will come to him and he will be kicked out of the military. Yeah, it is a heavy load. I mean, I didn't know that about your brother, Miss Jessica, and I am so sorry that happened to him. I'm so sorry. That's a lot. Whew. Wow. Thank you for sharing that with us. That's a lot. That's definitely a lot. And that's what they call what do they consider themselves avenging angels, where they feel, that's the word I was looking for, where they feel like they're putting people out of their misery. And it's like, who gave you the right to do that? What and it happens throughout the nursing profession and doctors for years. I mean, it's not super common, but unfortunately there have been some throughout history. We had a little different, but we had a nurse up here who was giving people something. I can't remember what it was. They were infecting people. There was like a whole scare up here. It was a traveling nurse who got a lot of people, I think it was hepatitis. That's what it is, yes. Oops, it disappeared. I did pinups for vets. I was Miss December 2020. They dropped him. Okay, they dropped him on his head. He was Mensa smart. And when he went to the hospital, he had 6 strains of infections in his catheter. And we never, oh my God. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that happened to him. It's not right. It's not right, Miss Jessica. If you ever want to come on and talk about it, I would love to hear the story. And it could be a cautionary tale for other families to make sure that, when things like this are going on, it's a tough. Oh, that's awful. I am so sorry. Oh, I don't even know what to say. I'm just so sorry. He had at least 5 to 10 more years. Unfortunately, we didn't know everything I know now. I'd love to share. He was awesome. Yeah, and that's the thing is, when somebody's suffering from a disease, especially as debilitating as muscular dystrophy, it's like you're taking away from that person's life, and also their family having those years that because somebody's life is short, the span of their life is shorter, and you guys got robbed for those years, and it's horrific, and it never should have happened, and I'm so sorry for you and so sorry for your family. Oh, that's awful. It's absolutely awful. Thank you, Miss Jessica. Thank you for sharing with us. That's a tough thing to share, and especially like in a chat, and those who hurt the vulnerable and the weak. And I'm not saying he was weak, just somebody who is incapacitated and they're in the hospital. it is wrong. It is so messed up that somebody would take advantage of him in that situation and do what they did. It's you know, it's it's horrific, and you know, it never should have happened, and your family should have been able to have those precious moments they had left with him. So yeah, thank you everybody for giving Miss Jessica support too. You know, that's like what I was saying before. You know, we're a community, and we have to make sure that we step up for each other, and we keep fighting, and you know, we stand shoulder to shoulder with each other when we do the standouts. But we need to make sure when we're not in those situations, we still stand shoulder to shoulder with each other, even if it's virtually. And it's important that we keep standing up for each other. It's to make sure that we're continuing to get justice for others. And you know, like Miss Jessica's brother, he can't speak anymore, but we can be his voice, and we can help stand up for him to make sure this doesn't happen to another person. You know, silence festers these things to continue to happen. Silence allows police officers to, you know, act with impunity, to do whatever they want. Silence let that nurse do what that was it. I'm sure, I don't know if it was a male or female, let that nurse do what they did to Miss Jessica's brother. Silence allowed the people who hurt Sandra Birchmore to continue to hurt her for almost 10 years. You know, silence festers these things to go under and to be unseen. And we need to make sure we keep speaking out so this does not continue to happen. We need to make sure that we stay together. Like I said earlier in the stream, we don't have to love each other. We don't have to all get along. We don't all have to like each other, but we have to work together to try to ensure that these things that happen to Sandra Birchmore, you know, to John O'Keefe, to Just En Route, to Miss Jessica's brother, and what's going on with Karen, to continue to happen. Because when things go dormant, or things go, you know, unseen and unspoken, that's where things continue to happen. We need to shed light. You know, we need to do what John Lewis said, have good trouble by standing up to the powers that be. You know, it's good trouble to go out and like I showed the video of Erica. That's good trouble. When you stand up to these powers who want nothing more than to silence us, it's good trouble to get into. You know, we need to make sure that we all continue to keep speaking out. And like I said before, you know, we just had a man who was from Ireland in here. And I'm so glad there are people from Ireland and South Africa and all these countries that are outside the US who are standing with us to make sure these things don't go underground and they don't go away, so nothing gets fixed. You know, we are so lucky that we have people who want to stand up with us. You know, I know a lot of you don't even live in Massachusetts, and you guys are standing up to the injustices that we're talking about. You know, Sandra Birchmore, John O'Keefe, and Karen Reed, and Just En Route. You know, and these 3 cases happen within a 24-month period. That's insane. And they all involve police corruption. They all involve Michael Morrissey's office. And we need to keep our foot on the gas and make sure we don't let these people continue to operate the way they are. You know, when Trooper McKennick was testifying in the Karen Reed case, I kept hearing, you know, I kept thinking about Trooper Fanning. I was actually able to watch him testify in another case on Melanie Little's channel just last week. And but I was thinking about him a lot when McKennick was testifying because they're similar. They both have that arrogance. I don't know if Fanning would be as cocky as McKennick was on the stand, because that was the next level cockiness. I mean, he's cocky, but I think that I was thinking about him a lot. And he's most likely not going to be called in Karen's trial. He was on the list. I don't think they're going to call him. He's probably not going to be useful to Karen's team at all. But the arrogance these officers operate in to, think that they can get away with whatever they're doing is disgusting. And that's why we all need to stick with each other. Like I said, it doesn't matter if we get along. Just keep fighting for justice, not with each other. I mean, trust me, there are times I want to tell someone off, but we gotta try to stick it out so we can get justice for these people. Off my soapbox for that. Is there anything anybody has any questions about? Absolutely. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Absolutely. Morrissey wants to keep everything in Norfolk County DA's office in the dark. Absolutely. Absolutely. But thankfully, Sandra Birchmore is out of his hands. Yeah, am I pissed that he still refuses to charge Matthew Farrell? Am I pissed that he continues to have Sandra's death listed as a suicide? Yep. But it's out of his hands. And I wish Karen was out of his hands. But unfortunately, right now we have to continue this farce of a trial. And I hope to God Karen isn't convicted. Crazy things happen in trials, but I'm pulling for her. I am praying for her. I'm keeping my faith that justice will be done in this case, so we can move on and start getting justice for John. I hope. I see. The thing is, I knew. When it came to Sandra's case, I knew what I knew. And I knew that Sandra was murdered. And hopefully, once Karen's case is over, we can apply some of what Sandra's case went through to John. Because if you think about it, I said this on one of my last streams. If you think about how they went and got Matthew Farrell when it came to Sandra's case, they got him as he murdered a witness. Well, they could do the same thing in John's case. The act of putting him out on the lawn was murdering a witness against the violence that happened in that house. I don't know who did it. I don't know who did the blow to John, the back of John's head that was fatal. I don't know. But I just know it wasn't John being hit by a car. And I knew the second when I saw John's injuries, because Brandon Embry's case. I mean, obviously, looking at his injuries, but I knew from working on Brandon Embry's case, because he had similar wounds, and there was not enough blood on that lawn for John to have been there for hours. Yes, the cold restricts blood vessels, but he still would have bled a lot more in the beginning. And I know what somebody's blood amount should be by looking at Brandon Embry. Their injuries are similar. And I'll show, you know what, next time I stream, I'll show it and I'll do a warning so people know, not if they don't want to see If blood makes them queasy, they don't want to see it. They could turn their heads. I just don't have it up right now, but I'll show you guys. John should have had a similar area like Brandon did. Yes, Brandon was in an apartment and it wasn't as cold, but if John was hit by Karen's car, the area around him should have looked like Brandon's apartment. And that seeing his arm and then seeing that made me say he wasn't hit by a car. There's no way. And then when you go take a step back and you see Sandra's case, something fishy is going on here, something fishy is going on in this case. Then you take another step back and you see just on Root's case. A lot of fishy things happen there. And what do they all have in common? Police involvement in cover-up. There's a problem in Norfolk County, and we all need to keep saying it. There's a problem in Massachusetts, but right now we're talking about Norfolk County and Michael Morrissey's office. We need to let this man know we are not letting it go. We are not letting him skirt by after these cases. Whoops. It's amazing how the truth comes out. It is. It absolutely is. It is. And, the fact that the feds did the TUI report, I can't talk anymore. The TUI report in general should tell everybody out there everything. The problem is a lot of people still don't know this case. I don't know how more people don't know about Karen's case. It's all over the news. It's all over all these channels, and same with Sandra's case. My mind is flabbergasted because I don't understand how her case isn't bigger. You have 3 cops that abused a young woman. Why isn't this case out there more? And that's why we Barb and I stepped up and we knew we had to get this case out there. And I'm so thankful you guys are here and you're a part of it. It means the world to me. It means the world to Barb. She's not here tonight, but it means the world to both of us. And I'm going to put this up here. Again, it's amazing how the truth comes out. And we got to make sure it keeps coming out. And thank you for bearing witness from Arizona. And I know Miss Jessica's from the Chicago area. We had somebody who from Ireland. We've had people from South Africa, Scotland. We need to make sure that we keep talking about these cases. We need to make sure that we don't allow them to suppress it anymore. We want our communities to be safer. And it only becomes safer when we can work with the police and the police make changes in their area. Oh, they're going to start lighting fireworks off here. We need to make sure that the police are ensuring that they want to make changes too. I don't know if I'm cutting in and out. My thing I keep getting a spinning thing. Thank you. We appreciate that. And I do the same. I try, you tell one person, they might tell another person, it's like the telephone game. You tell one person, it keeps going out, So, sorry guys. Now that I had an ant crawl on me earlier, I keep feeling it. So are there any other questions? Absolutely. And it's before I go on, it's like to for Erica to be arrested in that sweatshirt is bananas. It's because they were mad she was protesting them. Because that shirt was about them. That sweatshirt was about them. And they couldn't handle that. Yeah, they have Microdots has that in red. I might get the red one. Because red, as you can tell, red's my favorite color. I like the black one too. Yeah, support Microdots. You know, everybody get that sweatshirt. I don't know if it comes in a t-shirt. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, get that sweatshirt because it's true. It's true. And they could not handle the fact that that statement is the truth. I texted him and I said, oh, so now you're getting people arrested? He was like, what? And I was like, I'm just kidding. Your sweatshirt. Erica was wearing your sweatshirt and she was arrested because of it. But he was itching. He was like just looking like that man Hardman or whatever his name is. He was itching to arrest her, and he was itching to he was just itching to do something. Yeah, my thing's drifting again. I'm ready to bark at the neighbors. 5 hours of their music is getting my nerves. Oh, I hate that. You know what's funny? Oh, I do want to say something. Oh yeah, he was itching, so itching to arrest her. He didn't like a woman with a big mouth, and you know, I only met Erica the day before, I believe, and she was cracking me up when we were in the buffer zone. She was cracking me up. Like I had heard about Erica. I'd seen her in videos and stuff like that, but we hadn't met yet. And she was cracking me up. And he didn't like a woman with a big mouth, and you know he couldn't deal. He didn't know how to deal with her, and you know he didn't like a woman that like pushed back on him, and that's what Erica was doing. And he couldn't. His ego couldn't deal with it. Crap. What was I gonna say? Oh, so last night, I don't know what happened at my neighbor's house. I almost started filming, but I didn't want to. I didn't know what was going on, so I didn't want to film it. But the police went by, no light. They had their lights on, no sound, because it was late at night. And my shade in my living room was cracked probably about 2 inches, maybe 2.5 inches. And excuse me, one cop car showed up, and then 2 others showed up. And I was just, the whole time I was just like, there is no way the Alberts, especially where Brian Albert's window is, didn't see those lights. Unless they have blackout shades and curtains, but you could still see them in my house. And I had, like, some of my windows had blackout, like they're covered. I was like, there's no way. There is no way they slept through that. There is no way. And my dog started barking. So all she saw was the lights. There is no way that German Shepherd slept through that. There's no way. They're lying. There is no way. There was one day a couple last year where a fire engine came and turned on my road. And it was late at night. Sorry, my throat's getting dry. And they didn't have their lights on or anything. But, like, yeah, diesel engine. There is no way. It was so loud. I didn't know what was going on. My shade was down further. I could see, they didn't have their lights on, so I couldn't see the lights, but I could hear them. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And, I put my shade up. And the second you put my shade, if you touch the shade at all, my dog freaks out and thinks she has to protect the whole world. she like goes in attack mode, which I believe Chloe would have done because she's an aggressive dog. There's no way. There is no way. It's, there is absolutely no way. They are lying. Yeah, like I said, Miss Jessica, I only met her for 2 days and I fell in love with her. Like she was cracking me up when we were sitting in the buffer zone. She was just cracking me up. And I have mad respect for her to she stepped up for our First Amendment right that day. She stepped up for our freedoms. And, the trolls want to talk shit. Oh, it was planned. She was with her lawyer. It was planned for her to go down into the buffer zone because the order was changed, because it was supposed to be different, because she was supposed to be able to go down there. So, like I said at the beginning of the show, what do you think? I mean, you can't equate it to like what was going on in the civil rights movement, but it's still honoring that tradition. It's still going down there and standing up for our freedoms. It's still going down there and stepping up. It's still stepping up to an injustice that's happening. They are more than trampling on our First Amendment rights. They're taking a shit on it. They're ripping the Constitution up, stomping on it, and taking a shit on it. And we can't allow that to continue to happen. So that's why I'm glad it's going on at the Moakley building. What is going on in Norfolk County is not right. It's disgusting. Like I said, she had me cracking up, and I have mad respect for her. Like I said, I don't really know her. I met her the day before, but I have mad respect for what she did. She has my respect. Okay, guys, this is going on 2 hours and 40 minutes. Are there any last questions, comments, anything we want to go over before we end this night? We actually went a little longer than I thought I was going to make it because my head's okay now. But okay. Doesn't seem like there to be any other questions. Again, May 6th and 7th, Robert Devine has his post-commission hearings. I will be streaming those. I will get you guys more information on it when I stream next Sunday. And then Matthew Farwell's next hearing is July 1st. I believe it's in person. I believe we can go, but I will get you guys more information on that. And for those who are local, we will be doing a Michael Morrissey standout, and we will be doing another State House standout. And we need as many people as we can get to come stand out for that. So with that said, I think I'm going to end this tonight. I appreciate all of you for coming out and hanging out with me tonight. It means the world to me that you guys are here. Sorry, somebody texted me. It means the world that you guys are here. And I appreciate you all. It helps me get me to be able to push Sandra's case out there more. And that's all we want to do. We want to make sure we keep pushing Sandra's case out there. We want to make sure that people understand that justice doesn't just mean Matthew Farwell going to prison. Yes, we were thankful that that animal is off the streets, but there is so much more to her case. There are so many more people that hurt her, and we want to make sure that we keep bringing her story to you guys. And it means the world to me that you guys want to take part in Sandra's case. And I know Barb appreciates it, and I know her family appreciates all of you for, wanting to take part and learn more about Sandra's case. It means the world. With that said, I am going to say good night. Just let me get my little thing up so I can play my outro. And hopefully soon I will have my theme song. And one of the next times when I'm feeling better, I will. So a couple of you guys asked for me to sing. I will. Tonight's not a good night because my voice is wicked gravelly and I will sound like crap. But I will. One of my next ones, I will definitely sing for you guys. So thank you guys for coming in and hanging out with me for a few hours. I am Izzy, and I'm a mixed girl in a mixed up world. Thank you. Oh, sorry, my thing's not